and welcome to Hoda's Career Info. I am your host, Hoda, and this is the channel for everyone seeking knowledge about careers. My guest today is JP Michel. JP is the founder of SparkPath and the creator of the challenge cards, of which there are 20,000 copies being used in schools all over the world. His challenge cards idea is innovative, and it has facilitated the career journey of many young adults whom I strive to support every day. JP is also a TEDx speaker whose work on careers has been featured on BBC, CBC, and Forbes. And today, I am honored to have him on my show. Welcome, JP Michel, and thank you so much for agreeing to join me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I am excited because part of my goals for this series is to share some innovative products and approaches that are out there in the career development field. And JP, I learned about the challenge cards a few years ago, and I did buy them, and I have bought new ones recently because the other ones were getting worn out. And when I bought them because I tried them, and I could clearly see how they could facilitate career choice, particularly for my young adults client. And I have to tell you that my young adults absolutely love them. And now today I get to interview JP Michel, the creator of the challenge cards. So I am curious about your story. And I also want to know what ignited the idea to create the challenge cards.
Great. Well, I'm happy to tell you, I studied industrial organizational psychology. That's the beginning of the story for me. At first, I wanted to do sports psychology until I discovered this new work psychology that actually led me to work in human resources consulting, doing coaching, training, assessment of leaders. And in that experience, I got to work with hundreds of different leaders across different organizations, different sectors. And there was an insight from working with those leaders that completely changed the way I looked at careers. The insight was that all of these bright people were all getting promoted. We're all changing job titles. And I saw some of them succeed in that transition. I saw some of them do very poorly. But whatever happened, that change led me to understand, wow, there's so much flux, there's so much change in people's careers. Why are we telling young people the opposite when they're in school? Why are we asking young people, what do you want to be when you grow up, suggesting that they would need to pick one thing for the rest of their lives? That's the opposite of everything I'm seeing across organizations. So this insight led me to want to be a career coach myself. So I started doing that on the side while I was a consultant. I worked similarly as you do, directly with students doing career coaching, helping them figure out what do I want to learn, what impact do I want to have in the marketplace. And eventually I loved it so much that I quit my job being a consultant so that I could work on my company, SparkPath, full time.
That's a very good story, and it reflects that we all have different backgrounds. Like, we don't just go down that straight one path, like I want to be an engineer and remain an engineer for my whole life. And but definitely the challenge cards get us started in reflecting, and then we can branch out as we build experience and more knowledge of ourselves. But in my professional experience, like the challenge cards, they're definitely a unique approach. They definitely facilitate the career path discovery journey for my young clients. And what I want you to highlight, please, to the audience is how is the cards approach different than other approaches out there? What makes it unique?
You know, if you look historically at the development of the career field, you know, we've been through so many stages, right? Vocational guidance. For a while, we were very good at matching people. You know, we measure people. We measure the world of work and we match them. You're familiar with those theories, even the instruments that we still use to do that. At one point, when corporations in the world of work was organized into very clear hierarchies and career ladders, we help people move through career stages. these prevailing ideas of developing people through stages and matching them to the right, path or job title, they're over. The current world of work does not reflect this need or reality anymore because there are too many job titles to keep track of for the matching to be successful. We know that the matches will be temporary at best. People will will do several things over the course of their lives. And even the structured stages and career ladders that existed in the past have been destroyed. They're completely different. So this is true today, 2021. You could argue that it was true in 2010. It's going to be even more true in 2050. Therefore, we need a new model, a new approach to exploration that's not limited by confined job titles. And that's what the challenge mindset approach brings. An easy, accessible way for people of all ages to discover inspiring challenges that they can work on. And I love giving you some examples if I can. For some people, the challenge they want to work on is protecting biodiversity and landscape. For others, they want to design the future of transportation. There are so many different challenges to work on. And that's what makes this tool different. It's a mix of labor market information, real stuff that's happening in the world of work, and your heart, right? Because you get to pick the challenges that speak to you the most. And I think that's one of the ways that the tool is different.
I love this idea. And you know what? Even using cards like this, and I am going to put up a card. I don't know if you can see it, but this one says redesign the healthcare system. And like for me, even I use it. I'm like, I'm designing the career development field. I hope I can have some influence in that. And that to me has been a challenge in creating this series. So definitely, I love the ideas that are available in there, in that don't even have to take it as it is, but you can just change it and make it your own. And that's what I think is what I like about it as an approach, because I allow my clients to play with the cards as well.
I love your example, by the way. You may have some career practitioners that are listening to your podcast that are just entering the field. So for them, one of the problems they're trying to solve is, how can I help people reach their potential? That's a great problem to solve. Good for them. They're getting trained in that. You found a connected challenge. How can I improve the career development field so that others can better help people reach their potential? And that to me illustrates really well the adaptability required for the world of work. You have to keep looking systematically for different problems, challenges, and opportunities, because the world around you is changing and you're changing. Like there was a change in you that said to you one day, you know what? I vote for myself. I choose myself. I want to help improve the field. And I think that should be, that type of change should be celebrated.
Thank you. I want to congratulate you on that. The challenge cards are now available virtually.
Thank you.
And I think that's great, because now in the pandemic, they're definitely going to be, I think, in demand. I do see the challenge cards as resources, as I mentioned, for parents and at home, and for schools as well. And my question to you about the virtual version is it meant to be used by the young adult alone? Like, can they go use it like an online game? Or is it better to still have a teacher, a school counselor, or a parent act as a facilitator, like we do with the cards?
I think that's a great question. The first intention of the digital version is to help people go deeper. After we had the first wave of challenge cards being used into the world, the biggest question we got back from career practitioners and educators was, I picked my favorite challenge card, or my students picked their favorite challenge card. Now what? And the digital tool allows us to answer that question, because we can create individualized challenge profiles based on the challenges people picked. And we make recommendations as to a process they can follow to explore more. So my favorite process is to get people to pick their challenges, find companies that are working on those challenges, who works there, what are their jobs, and what did they have to learn to be able to do that. So now online, we're able to guide people through that process. So that's the first part. To answer your question directly, this process, going through those steps, I highly recommend that young people work with someone to help them go through that process. Of course, it helps if they're a highly trained career professional like yourself. However, you're not always available to work with the hundreds of thousands of students or the millions of students who need your help. So I've been actually training school boards, career services centers in colleges, all sorts of people that all loosely are connected to this idea of helping young people reach their potential, some with PhDs in counseling psychology, and some with a teacher's degree and no experience in career development. And my intent was to make an idea so easy and so accessible that even a very young student will be able to use it. So we've built different tools to help educators. Use the challenge mindset. So I definitely would love it if young people can work with someone to help them get more insights on why they pick their cards and to help them explore further.
Okay, thank you for that. I kind of feel that it's nice to have also that career, that adult role model to kind of give direction and ask the questions that may not be, hear the answers to the questions that may be proposed for in the digital version.
Yeah, if I can give you a couple quick examples. The favorite question that people ask is, okay, well, you decided you wanted to distribute the wealth. Why did you pick that card? And for a trained listener like you, Dr. Hoda, what are you going to hear when you listen to the person? You're going to hear their values, their experiences, their skills, their strengths, their story, and you can actually help them piece that together into a coherent way forward. So I love that idea of having someone to support them along the journey.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a little bit about SparkPath. You mentioned it in the beginning, and I did introduce it in the bio. And SparkPath has a Twitter account, which I follow. And if the audience hasn't followed it yet, it's time to check it out. There's always something to read and check out. The SparkPath Twitter account states that JP Michel wants you to know that the world needs you. And so my question is, just for the audience's sake, I do agree with this statement 100%, but what do you mean by this? And how can we convince the young adults, the students, that the world actually needs them, that the statement makes sense?
Let's put ourselves in the shoes of the young 15-year-old young woman that we serve. She's hearing a lot of heavy stuff. She's hearing about how competitive the job market really is, how hard it is to get into college. She's hearing about student debt that's coming up. She even hears about unemployment, underemployment, even maybe people in her environment are disengaged at work. And that's heavy on her. The things I just told you, like there's truth to them. What's also true is that the world needs you. And I don't think we're telling her that. The world needs her because there are so many problems to fix. There's so many opportunities to take advantage of. There are so many challenges to solve. And one could just open up, a newspaper or online news and look at what's happening to find important human, global, local, specific challenges that they can work on. And I want young people to start thinking in a contribution, about their contribution, how they can help the world, how they can serve. And by telling them that the world needs them and proving it to them with specific examples, you change the way that they approach their education in their future. And that change is extremely valuable.
I absolutely agree. And, we can take any of the cards. And I pulled out this one because I find it says foster understanding and respect. And this is so not limiting, like anybody can read it and they will take it in totally different direction, right? Because it could go climate change. It could be, like within immigrant communities and supporting immigrant communities. It could go in very various different ways. So I love that some of these cards are not limiting. They allow the student to say, well, this is what I usually do. How would I fit that in this? And definitely allowing their creativity to flourish. So yes, I am a fan of the challenge cards. I'm also a fan of the challenge mindset. I find that it builds on the growth mindset that Carol Dweck brought up, but it takes it in a different direction as well, in that that we have to have that challenge in order to grow. So with that in mind, I also believe as the older adults, as the role models, we always have to have our own challenges so that we stay motivated in our career path, but also to show our clients that we have not settled in. We're not taking one job and happy and content. So what are some of the ideas or challenges going through your mind for the future, JP?
I've set out a big mission for SparkPath. We want to replace the status quo approach in careers, which we would call the job title mindset. Thousands of students this morning did an interest inventory that matched them to a job title. And most of them were very disappointed because they didn't like the job titles that they were matched to. The result of which is that they will dismiss career exploration and career development for so many years until they feel the pain again of choosing their major, applying to college, applying for a job, applying for an internship. I want to change that. I want to get all youth excited about the contribution that they can make. And one of our beliefs is that everyone can make a meaningful contribution to the world of work. So what will it take to replace the status quo approach? A lot. I have a lot of things that I don't know how to do, a lot of learning gaps that I'm taking on, but I'm committed. I'm committing to building this machine and surrounding myself with smart people that can help me fill my gaps in marketing, technology, and communicating. And I've been loving being on this journey. There's so many things to learn and to discover, and there's a long way to go. But we've been really lucky to work with great schools, school districts, community colleges, universities that are taking this idea, the challenge mindset, and applying it in all sorts of creative ways in their campus because they believe the same things. They don't want to limit their students to job titles. They want to teach their students that the world needs them and that their students get to choose about the challenges that they want to work on. So I've got a lot to learn for these next steps and for that to happen. And I hope you'll help me along the way as you're helping me today by sharing this message.
Well, I am on board. If this was a train that you're taking us somewhere, I would be on board of it. So anytime I can help out. And I'm very proud of you. And I'm very happy that you agreed to speak to me and help me promote this message, and which is yours, but really yours is on a much bigger scale. So I will be watching your journey, and definitely you can count on my support anytime.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
This was all I had for questions for you today, JP. Was there anything else you were hoping I would ask but didn't? Or is there one more message you'd like to pass before we wrap up?
Yes, the message that we're sharing for our young people that the world needs them is very real. I believe in it, and please spread it. However, everyone who's listening to this podcast who happens to be a career development pro or an educator, the message is for you too. The world needs you to do the work that you're supposed to do to help these young people thrive. We work in an imperfect people development system, which includes parents, grade school, high school, college, universities, post-secondary, the workplace. It's messy, it's disconnected. Different actors, different goals, different historical pinnings. It will never work. It will never be one coordinated system that seamlessly takes young people and makes them productive, happy adults. That's why we need you, the career pros. So the message the world needs you applies to you even more than anyone else. And I'm giving you today the gift of my high expectations to help so many more young people thrive because of the great work that you do. So good luck with that. Please let me know if I can help.
Thank you so much, JP, for your innovation and your passion.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining Hoda's Career Info. Career literacy is so important, and I hope you see value in the challenge cards, the challenge mindset, along with the message, the world needs you, that JP Michel brings. You can connect with JP on his website, mysparkpath.com, or on LinkedIn and Twitter using the links provided. I am your host, Hoda. Until next time, keep moving forward.